The bar is dimly lit, smelling of expensive mahogany and desperation. Meet Dot. Dot is 36 years old. He is wearing a suit that costs more than his first car. He just ordered a round of drinks for the table. Blue Label Scotch, because he wants to look like the man with the plan. Everyone cheers. Dot smiles. But inside, Dot is doing mental gymnastics. He's calculating if the $400 tab will trigger an over-limit notification on his banking app. Dot has a good job. He's a senior project manager. He makes 6 figures. On paper, Dot is the success story his high school classmates envy. In reality, Dot is a financial shell. He drives a European SUV, the Performance Edition, because he told himself it was a reliable choice for his commute. The monthly payment is a comma. He lives in a luxury apartment with a floor-to-ceiling view of a city he's too tired to enjoy. He's 36, and his net worth is effectively zero. Actually, if you count the car loan and the credit cards, Dot is worth less than the guy cleaning the bar floor. Dot isn't a bad person. He's just a victim of his own ego. He spent the last 6 years leveling up his life every time his salary ticked upward. He thought he was building a life. He was actually building a cage. It's 3 a.m. The scotch is gone. The friends are gone. Dot is sitting in the driver's seat of his parked SUV, staring at the glowing dashboard. He realizes that if his company has a bad quarter tomorrow, he is precisely 3 weeks away from total insolvency. He's 36, he's high income, and he is terrifyingly poor. Why is Dot in this position? Because the 30s are a psychological minefield. In your 20s, you're allowed to be broke. In your 40s, you're expected to be established. Your 30s are the decade where the pressure to look established overrides the logic of actually being established. Here are the 7 systemic failures that are making you poorer while you think you're getting ahead. The Diderot effect and lifestyle creep. Dodd started with a promotion. He bought a new desk. Then the desk made his chair look cheap. He bought a $1,200 ergonomic chair. Then the chair made his home office look drab. He renovated the room. This is the Diderot effect. It's a social phenomenon where obtaining a new possession often creates a spiral of consumption that leads you to acquire more new things. As a result, we end up buying things that our previous selves never needed to feel happy or fulfilled. In your 30s, your baseline shifts. You stop comparing yourself to your college roommates and start comparing yourself to the principal VP who's 50 and has a paid-off mortgage. You aren't buying comfort, you're buying a ticket to a race you can't win. The system fix. Decouple income from expenditure. If your salary goes up by 10%, your lifestyle stays exactly where it was. You don't reward yourself with recurring liabilities, you reward yourself with equity. The social signaling debt, the Instagram tax. Why did Dot buy the SUV? To get from A to B? No. He bought it because he couldn't stand the thought of pulling up to the valet in a 2018 sedan. We are biologically wired for signaling theory. In the wild, a peacock's tail signals health and genetics. In the modern world, a luxury watch signals success. But there's a glitch in the software. Modern signals are often funded by debt. You are spending future you's freedom to buy current you's vanity. You're trading 40 hours a week of your life for a piece of metal that loses 15% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. You aren't a consumer, you're a victim of your own primate brain. The system fix. Build an invisible wealth protocol. True wealth is the ability to say no to a job you hate. No one sees your brokerage account through your car window, and that's the point. The expert trap. and financial complexity. Dot felt sophisticated. He didn't want a simple index fund. He wanted alpha. He hired a wealth manager who charged a 1.5% management fee and put him in complex mutual funds with 2% expense ratios. Dot is losing. Studies consistently show that over a 10-year period, 85 to 90% of active fund managers failed to beat the S&P 500. When you add fees, that number nears 100%. Dot is paying a professional to lose him money. In your 30s, you think you're too smart for the basics. You want the insider play. You want the complex tax-advantaged life insurance policy that pays the agent a massive commission and leaves you with a mediocre return. The system fix, complexity, is a tax on the insecure. The most robust financial systems are boring. They are automated. They are low cost. If you can't explain the investment to a 12-year-old, it's not an investment, it's a sales pitch. The sunk cost fallacy of the professional career. Dot hates his job. He spends 50 hours a week managing people he doesn't like for a company that would replace him in a heartbeat if he dropped dead. But he won't leave. Why? I've put 12 years into this industry. This is the sunk cost fallacy. You continue a losing behavior because you've already invested resources in it. By 35, people feel locked in. They've built a reputation. They have a title. They stay in a stagnant role with 3% raises while their real-world purchasing power is eroded by inflation. They trade their most productive years for the safety of a paycheck that barely covers their lifestyle creep. The system fix, your career is a product. If the market is moving, you move with it. Loyalty to a corporation that views you as a line item on a balance sheet isn't a virtue, it's a tactical error. 5. Redefining assets. The real estate delusion. Dot bought a starter home, then a forever home. He calls them his biggest investments. Is it? An asset, by definition, puts money into your pocket. A primary residence takes money out of your pocket every single month. Property taxes, insurance, the 30-year-old roof that just started leaking. The interest you pay to the bank over 30 years often equals the original price of the home. Dot is house poor. He has $400,000 in equity, but struggles to buy groceries if his bonus is late. He's tied to a geographic location, unable to move for a better opportunity because he's invested in his kitchen backsplash. The system fix, a house is a place to live. Treat it as a luxury expense, not a retirement plan. Buy what you need, not what the bank says you can afford. 6. Ignoring the inflation tax on cash. Dot keeps $50,000 in a high-yield savings account. He thinks he's being responsible. He thinks he's safe. He's being robbed. Inflation is the silent killer of wealth. At a modest 3% inflation rate, $100,000 loses half its purchasing power in 24 years. If your money's sitting in a 0.5% savings account, you are effectively paying the bank 2.5% a year to watch your wealth melt away. Dot's safety is an illusion. He's losing the game of math because he's afraid of the game of volatility. The system fix, cash is for emergencies and opportunities. Everything else must be in productive assets. You don't save your way to security, you allocate your way there. 7. The health debt, trading longevity for labor. Dot works late. He eats takeout at his desk. He drinks 3 cups of coffee to wake up and 2 glasses of wine to sleep. He says he'll get back in shape in his 40s once things settle down. Things never settle down. In your 30s, you were taking a high-interest loan out on your body. The stress hormones, the lack of sleep, the sedentary lifestyle, it's all being added to a ledger. By your 50s, the bill comes due in the form of medical costs, lost productivity, and a shortened retirement. What's the point of having a high net worth if you're too sick to leave the hospital bed? The system fix. Health is the ultimate multiplier. If your health is zero, the total value of your life is zero. No job is worth a permanent metabolic breakdown. Let's go back to Dot sitting in that SUV at 3 a.m. He didn't have a miraculous get-rich moment. He didn't win the lottery. He did something much harder. He looked at his reflection in the rearview mirror and admitted he was a fraud. Dot stopped playing the character of successful professional and started playing the role of chief financial officer of his own life. He sold the SUV. He took the $800 a month savings and automated it into a low-cost total market index fund. He moved to a smaller apartment closer to work, cutting his commute and his rent by 30%. He stopped buying the round of drinks to impress people who couldn't remember his name the next morning. He stayed in his job, but he stopped being a loyal soldier. He spent his weekends building a skill set that made him more valuable to the market, not just his boss. 3 years later, Dot is still 39. He doesn't have a new SUV, he doesn't have a floor-to-ceiling view. But he has something he never had at 36, options. When a reorganization happened at his firm last month, his colleagues were panicking. They were terrified of losing their gold-plated cages. Dot wasn't. He looked at his accounts. He realized he could live for 2 years without earning a single cent. He didn't find success in a purchase. He found it in a system. He stopped trying to look like he had it all and finally started to own himself. The 7 things he stopped doing didn't make him a billionaire. They made him free. If this felt like a punch in the gut, that's the point. Most people will spend their 30s building a prison of nice things. You don't have to be one of them. If you're ready to stop the bleeding and start building a real system, hit the like button, subscribe to join a community that values freedom over flash, and leave a comment below. What is the one status symbol you're ready to give up to buy back your future? Let's get to work.